Citibank is one of the world's largest and most prominent banks, and they have introduced their rapid settlement service based on blockchain technology. A lot of people in the XRP community are concerned that this product will be a Ripple and an XRP killer. In this video, I'll give you my perspective on this and tell you whether or not I am concerned about the city's new product that will have a massive amount of institutional volume. By the end of this movie, you'll have a much better picture of what's going on here. Is your support so important to this channel? If you enjoyed these videos, please take a moment to like this video. And please subscribe to my channel. It will help me out a lot. With that said, let's get right into it, and I hope you guys can enjoy the content if I want to. Begin this video by really sharing it. What it is, it's a top 10 list of Bitcoin holders in the globe presently. I'm just going to read through these top 10 lists for you, and I found it rather fascinating, so maybe you will as well. The world's #1 Bitcoin holder is Satoshi Nakamoto's number 2. Binance is Grayscale number 3. Bitfinex is ranked 4th. The US government is ranked 5th. MicroStrategy is ranked 6th, and Block1 is ranked 7th. Ox is ranked 8th. Robinhood is ranked 9th, and the Winklevoss twins are ranked 10th. Twins, that's an intriguing list, isn't it? There were some surprises here. Includes the US government at number 5. I was quite surprised they have so much Bitcoin, and that's just the Bitcoin we know about, so they definitely have some more. I was astonished to see them have more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy, and then to see them sell it. The other one that surprised me was Grayscale at number 2. I had no idea that Grayscale had more Bitcoin than finance. That is also quite shocking. I just thought this was an interesting list. I wanted to tell you about it. I'd never seen anything like it before. Before I get to what I truly want to see. Is one of these lists intended for XRP holders? That would be fascinating for XRP right now, in my opinion. I don't believe so. There is as much information regarding who the top 10 holders are. I know a lot of institutions are more cautious about reporting other cryptocurrencies they're involved in other than Bitcoin for clarity reasons, but that would be intriguing to see. I just wanted to bring this to your attention because I thought it was super interesting, and there were some surprises on this list. Ultimately, I think we're going to see a lot more of these in the future for other major digital assets, and I can't wait to see what XRP's list looks like. It looks like one day, so I'm ready to go. On and discuss the news that came out earlier today about Citibank's new rapid settlement service that uses blockchain technology, and just discuss whether or if this is a Ripple or XRP killer, so we can truly. I've seen news like this before and was around when JP Morgan first launched their JP Morgan currency, when JP Morgan first released their JP Morgan coin. Everyone was stating that because JP Morgan is one of the world's largest banks, they're going to utilize the JP Morgan coin to utterly destroy everything. Ripple and XRP are doing, and it turned out that none of it materialized. So why did that never materialize? JP Morgan currency, the new quick settlement service from Citibank, these are the all central heist platforms are fundamentally the same. All they can do is communicate with their businesses and Citibank's new token, which will be used for settlement. This platform will only be used between Citibank locations, and the same is true for JP Morgan's coin. Only works with JP Morgan platforms, therefore it's critical to understand that these are called walled guardians, and David Schwartz has spoken openly about this before. Walled guardians aren't something new or innovative. We already have all of these large institutions that have their version of walled gardens. They're just internal database bases called payment systems, but no actual value is transmitted here. It's just a centralized platform, so you may be wondering why they're adopting blockchain. Well-centralized blockchain technology. Technology continues to develop over the present methods they're using, notably around tracking money and auditing payments, but nothing is genuinely solved when it comes to actually moving value in a new and unique way. So, let me build a picture for you of why this isn't a competition to Ripple and explain what we just learned. Citibank is introducing its cryptocurrency. We also know that JP Morgan will have its own, and Morgan Stanley will most likely have their own, as will someone like Wells Fargo and Bank of America. All of these different banks will want to have their internal settlement services, which makes sense. They won't want to use public blockchains for a lot of this since they need their payments. To be private, they must do several internal tasks that would be inappropriate to place on the public blockchain. Therefore, there is an obvious purpose for these internal private centralized blockchains. But what happened just now? We just have a lot of walled gardens, with each bank having its token. And they will not want each other. Other people's token Citibank will not accept Bank of America coins. Citicoin will not be accepted by Bank of America. Neither of those banks will want a JP Morgan coin, so you now have a slew of different currencies at all of these different institutions, and no one wants to use each other's coins. Fundamentally, nothing was resolved. You just have individual pots of worth now. Your bank of he interacts with American bank accounts at all of these banks, which we already have. It's the same thing with a JP Morgan bank account that's being created with these internal settlement blockchain platforms. They're centralized and private. They can't interoperate. If all of these are separate banks have their internal currency, this is completely different than anything Ripple and XRP are. They have their internal settlement mechanism. They'll need a mechanism to communicate with one another, and this simply reintroduces the necessity for a British currency. What I observe is that all of these separate banks are merging. JP Morgan, Citibank, you name it, and I'll see it. All of these banks are generating their coin in their rapid settlement platform for internal usage, yet at the end of the day, these banks work together. Operate with institutions all over the world, and there will always be a need for neutral, decentralized liquidity between all of them because none of these different banks want to take each other's coin. Therefore, a bridge is still required. They will have a currency that is liquid for all of the numerous internal currencies. If JP Morgan wants to pay Citibank, they just send JP Morgan coin to the XRP ledger. Then the Citibank coin appears on the other side for Citibank. That way, they never have to touch each other's internal currencies. Instead, they simply use XRP as a bridge. It's the same thing. We propose using XRP for countries and the CBC for institutions on a lower scale. I see the same thing happening, and I believe this is just another step in that direction. What Citibank is doing here is not in competition with Ripple or XRP. It is quite different. Ripple is spinning up, but XRP was never supposed to be an internal settlement layer or a private blockchain. Private versions of the XRP ledger for institutions and banks that do not want to develop their version of what Citibank did, but yet want to connect to the public XRP ledger and use XRP as neutral liquidity in the middle of their transactions. I simply believe this is a crucial aspect to understand because so many people are looking at this announcement and saying, oh no, Citibank is big and all the institutions are just going to get on Citibank's platform and bam, Ripple and XRP are dead folks. That will never happen, and that is the whole reason all of this is happening. These banks and institutions are turning away from SWIFT because they don't trust one another and are constantly competing with one another. They each have their own set of internal systems, and neither one wants to give credit or do business with the other. Giant bank and the smaller banks are frantically seeking to move away from these big banks. They will never want to utilize these new monopolized platforms. What we need is a neutral level playing field between all these different internal systems, and that is what we need. Right now, the neutral playing field is positioned to be XRP, which is different from everything else we're seeing. The most essential thing is that you are here. You must understand that if I were to give you, you guys are a great low-level example of what we're witnessing here. It's almost like Citibank has its parking lot. Their campus is surrounded by roads. But ultimately, that's not going to get you to Home Depot, and it's not going to get you to the town over to get to the town over. You're going to have to leverage a neutral playing field, a neutral platform to get to the next spot that interoperates with all the different roads. And that is the public transportation, that is the public highways, that is the public roads. That is how XRP behaves in this scenario. All of these institutions, correct? They have their private land, they have their private roads that are kind of concealed from the public, and you can't simply drive onto the city's campus and wander around their facilities because they do their stuff there. But at the end of the day, the city does not stop. Need public roadways, but this does not preclude cities from using motorways. Of course they do. They must interact. So there are two very distinct applications going on here, and that's what I'm trying to drive home. Just because the city has an internal platform doesn't mean they don't have to do anything. Externally, what we're seeing is that these giant banks and institutions are adopting blockchain in a significant manner, utilizing it to revolutionize their internal settlement services. And as they do so, we'll see a greater push for external uses of blockchain technology. Ripple is also located there. SERP placement, that is where XRP can become pristine liquidity for all of these different institutions, because, as I mentioned earlier, they build on an internal basis no matter what. Because at the end of the day, these are all centralized firms, they will be unable to compete with XRP. Built on centralized platforms, which is not what XRP is designed to be, and guys, I want to finish this video. We'll hunt with one last small char. I thought this was quite intriguing. This is just a Bitcoin bull run over the last couple of years, and I was astounded by how similar of a trend we are in every other year previously. Simply pause the video and have a look. Look at your screen, and you'll notice that many individuals are frustrated by how little prices have changed. Many folks are disappointed that we haven't seen much volatility. Guys, when I see a chart like this, I think to myself, well, it looks to me. This is just par for the course. Perhaps we'll have a few more months of dull price action. Maybe we should start grinding harder and begin the second bull run, but it appears to me that there is nothing to worry about right now. We're simply going through the motions, and we have a couple of months to a year left. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you so much for attending. Of build up before things get started again. I hope you found it interesting. Update. If you did, please like and subscribe because it means a lot.